Now, that was following the first apology. A lot of people, like I stated, has reacted to this. Now, this was Sandy Brondello moments ago. Listen to the second apology from Sandy. Let's roll it.
Yeah, straight after the game, because the statement, you know, I wanted to put that out as soon as I woke up, and I reached out to him after the game. I thought that was important to the GM and asked him to speak to Angel, because she doesn't really know me very well. Have a ton of respect.
The silence in the WNBA front office was deafening, but the message was unmistakably clear. For the second time in a matter of days, Sandy Brondello was forced to stand before the cameras and eat her words. It wasn't a strategy, it was a surrender. The league, in its infinite wisdom, had decided that Sandy Brondello's words about Angel Reese were not just controversial, they were an act of war. This isn't just a story about a coach and a player. This is the story of the WNBA's brutal, uncompromising power structure and how it broke a veteran coach down until she apologized for a crime she didn't commit. The league, in its pursuit of protecting its golden goose, has turned a routine post-game comment into a national crisis, forcing Sandy Brondello to grovel at the altar of Angel Reese's brand. This is the price of speaking your mind in a league that demands absolute fealty to its superstars. Sandy Brondello is a Hall of Fame coach, a master of X's and O's, and she has just been publicly shamed into submission by the very institution she helped build. We are witnessing the dangerous precedent of a league so terrified of public backlash that it will sacrifice the integrity of its own personnel to appease the mob. Sandy Brondello told the truth, and the WNBA punished her for it, forcing Sandy Brondello to apologize, not once, but twice to the players she allegedly offended. The question is, who is really running this league? The commissioner, or the ATL Barbies cult of personality?
Sandy Brondello over the edge. I want you guys to watch.
Moments ago, Niara Sabally able to get up, walk off on her own power, but she is certainly dealing with an injury. Look at the bounce. Could be ribbed too. It's just a tough place to take that. By the way, no coach's challenges available on either side now, as you had unsuccessful. Well, looking at it again, it looked like Niara had legal guarding position on that. I'm not faulting Reese in that, like you.
Now look at Angel Reese.
You take that.
In the clip, the commentators are dissecting a pivotal play where Angel Reese, driving hard to the rim, collides with Niara Sabally. Sabally falls to the floor, suffering a rib injury. The commentators note that the referee's call is questionable. I looked like Niara had legal guarding position on that, one says, and I'm not faulting Reese in that. This is the exact type of gray area officiating that drives coaches crazy. When Sandy Brondello saw Angel Reese throw her hands up after the play, it wasn't a sign of malice, it was a sign of entitlement, the very thing Sandy Brondello was trying to point out. Sandy Brondello watched one of her players get hurt on a play she felt was poorly officiated, and she reacted. The immediate fallout was swift and severe. The WNBA, rather than looking at the context of Sandy Brondello's statement, decided to make an example of her. They announced that Sandy Brondello had been suspended without pay for one game. The Toronto Tempo head coach Sandy Brondello has been suspended without pay for one game for an inappropriate comment she made regarding Angel Reese of the Atlanta Dream. The league's statement about upholding professionalism and respect was a thin veil for capitulating to the outraged fan base of Angel Reese. But the long-term strategic consequences of this are catastrophic for coaching integrity. By punishing Sandy Brondello so harshly, the WNBA has sent a clear message: if you criticize a star, your career is on the line, no matter how right you are. Sandy Brondello's original sin was being a foreigner in a league that has forgotten what real talk sounds like.
During the Tempo 111-92 loss to the Dream yesterday in Toronto, Brondello will serve her suspension Monday when the Tempo hosts Las Vegas. The WNBA expects all coaches and team personnel to uphold the highest standard of professionalism in respect to the league. Now, Sandy Brondello, to me, I don't believe she got out of character.
We hear the commentators breaking down the league's official statement, which they call a damn shame. Sandy Brondello's first apology was a matter of protocol. The second was a matter of survival. The league's actions forced Sandy Brondello into a corner, demanding she apologize for something that was never a racial issue to begin with. This situation is a microcosm of the WNBA's deep-seated identity crisis. The league is terrified of being perceived as racist or anti-player, especially when it involves a star like Angel Reese, who is perhaps the most polarizing figure in the game. But to force Sandy Brondello, a coach who has dedicated her life to uplifting women of color, to apologize for using an Australian term is a brutal miscarriage of justice. It shows a league that is more concerned with appearances than actual substance. Sandy Brondello has to navigate a minefield of social media outrage, a pressure cooker that no previous generation of coaches ever had to face. When Sandy Brondello says, "It's a very common statement in Australia," she is highlighting the chasm between her cultural upbringing and the hypersensitive, reactive culture of American sports media. The WNBA has essentially tied Sandy Brondello's hands behind her back, gagged her, and then forced her to beg for forgiveness. This isn't about what Sandy Brondello said. It is about the manufactured outrage machine that has targeted Sandy Brondello and is demanding her head on a platter. The financial and chemistry impact of this debacle is just beginning. By forcing Sandy Brondello to apologize, the league is creating a schism in the locker room. Players will now second-guess Sandy Brondello's methods. Other coaches will fear speaking the truth.
This league for 27 years, and obviously I have never had any issues like this because these are all my teammates, and I've learned so much about from the black players that I've coached and that I've had on staff, and I know I'm not racist, so it's a really unfortunate situation. But I really, I wanted to apologise whenever Angel's ready. I have, reached out to their organisation and I'm very sincere because I never want that to happen.
Sandy Brondello says, "I'm a part of the solution, not the problem." This is the high-stakes climax of this tragic story. Sandy Brondello, knowing she is being watched by the entire league, has to admit she made a mistake to save her job. She is sacrificing her own reputation and integrity to maintain the peace. The future predictions are dire. Coaches will become robotic automatons, repeating platitudes, and the game will suffer. This incident has effectively neutered Sandy Brondello's authority. She can no longer be the fiery, passionate coach she was. She must be the subdued, apologetic figure that the WNBA wants her to be. The rivalry between Angel Reese and Sandy Brondello has now been framed by the league as a public execution of coaching independence. But this was never about Sandy Brondello versus Angel Reese. It was about the league proving it couldn't force its will. Sandy Brondello publicly groveling is a sign that the league has won the battle, but in doing so, they may have lost the war for free speech and coaching authenticity. The team chemistry in Toronto is now fractured, not because Sandy Brondello is a racist, she is not, but because the players watched Sandy Brondello be forced to apologize for being honest. The high-stakes climax is not a game. It is the moment Sandy Brondello realized she is just a pawn in the WNBA's game of public relations. Angel Reese didn't need to say a word. The league did the silencing for her. This saga has exposed the WNBA's deep-seated insecurity and its willingness to sacrifice its own coaches on the altar of public opinion, and Sandy Brondello is the latest casualty.